Hey everybody, and thank you for tuning in for my third live stream. Today is the 14th of November, 10 a.m. right now. Obviously, that's Australian time. I know some of you might be a day before or a few hours before. I'm still working on the time to make sure it's a good time where everyone can join in. First and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to all my members. C. Nile, Alan D. Kimber, Svetlana Puls, Milton Warren, and Anders Nilsson. I appreciate all your support. If you guys want to join my channel as a member, the link is in the description. So, I've had a few questions come in already, so we'll start from there. I'll let you guys know I'm streaming this on Instagram as well, so hey everyone on Instagram. I'll try and read questions from everywhere, but the main focus is on YouTube. So let's start from the top. CH says, greetings Henry, looking forward to your live stream Q&A. How's the weather down under? We just had a cold front move through the central part of the US. It was freezing temps this morning. Our weather has been bipolar. Tomorrow is 75 degrees. Thank you for your excellent presentations. Well, firstly, obviously that's 75 degrees Fahrenheit, not Celsius, so we go by Celsius here. Look, the weather here is bipolar as well. So some days you'll get a very nice day. So right now, you can probably see in the background, there's a bit of sunlight. So it's a pretty nice day, clear skies. But that can all change by this afternoon. It can go completely rainy and stormy. And unfortunately, we've just gotten used to that. Thank you very much. Fooding says, hi, Henry. You made a video on how to make the garlic sauce. It was nice and thick, but can you make a video or tell us how to make the sauce runny and like liquid? Yeah, no worries. So the toum itself is actually a thick sauce, almost like a mayonnaise aioli type. So if you want to sort of thin it out and make it like a sauce, what you can do is after you make that, add some yogurt into it or add some mayonnaise and basically mix it together, and that's how you create a runny sauce. So that's what a lot of doner kebab shops will do. Food Inc. also says, hi Henry, you recently uploaded a video for chicken shawarma, which was awesome. But do you have a recipe with all the ingredients that the restaurants use for marination? So every sort of restaurant will have their own sort of idea on how they'll marinate it. A lot of franchise sort of joints, they actually get the meat already prepared from factories. So that's what a lot of them will have the same sort of flavor. In my recipe, that's my own recipe. I came up with that myself because there was a time where I did want to add that onto the menu here. Not saying that I won't, but it's still in the back of my mind, so you never know. Maybe one day. Art Kesh says, do you have any flap meat marinated recipes? Yeah, so flap meat, I actually have a carne asada recipe, so that is on my channel. So definitely check that out. Nothing wrong with flap meat. It's a tender cut, marinated properly, and it's actually very nice. John Sharp says, hi, how can I make Turkish tomato sauce for Iskender kebab? Okay, guys, so Iskender kebab is basically a Turkish sort of meal where it's Turkish bread with doner kebab on top with a special tomato sauce and a special yogurt sauce. Now, the yogurt sauce is almost like a garlic sauce, but the tomato sauce itself is just like a Turkish salsa. So basically, you got onions, tomatoes, garlic, red pepper paste, and tomato paste, and some herbs and spices, and you just simmer that. That's all it is. So I have had people request Iskender kebab before, actually a lot of times. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to do it because it is sort of a doner kebab. So I'd have to prepare that specifically for that, but we'll definitely keep that in mind. Okay, thanks everyone for posting your questions. So I'll go back to the chat. Universus says, I wish you a good stream. Thank you very much. So this is the third sort of Q&A live stream I'm doing. So definitely getting the hang of it. Yahan Zaman says, where are you from? So I'm in Australia, in Sydney. Originally, I'm Armenian though. Kubrick fan says, hey Henry, I'm making tagine chicken tonight for dinner. Ever made it? Actually, no. I've had a lot of people ask me to do recipes with tagines, but it's just never clicked to my mind to do it. Like every time I see them, I want to buy one so I can start practicing, but I just keep forgetting. No Name says, oh my god, you are cute. Thank you very much. I love your page. Carol D says, my order for sumac is coming in on Monday. You inspired me to try it. Any suggestions on what to make for the first time with sumac? Look, you got a few different options. If I were you, what I would do is sort of make either a salad or a kebab or some sort of meat dish and use that sumac as a seasoning on top after. It's just so you get a rough idea on the flavor profile of it. Then after that, you can go ahead and make, marinade with it. You can do anything else. You can even make dressings with it. SA says, what is your favorite food to make yourself? So personally, I like baking the most. So, cakes, sweets, desserts, pastries, all that sort of stuff. With sort of desserts, I find it's more stress relief because there's no sort of set recipes. You can sort of do whatever you want and come up with whatever you want. Yahan Zaman says, I'm Pakistani. Oh, yeah, cool. Thank you. Claude1234 says, do you know about jollof rice? It is similar to Middle Eastern food where a bunch of countries claim they invented it from West Africa. Food is good because everyone claims they invented it. No, I've never heard of it, actually, so I'll definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, I get what you mean, though. A lot of countries claim they invented the same thing. Who knows? You got to go back thousands of years in history. So, same with kebabs. Every country has their own take on it. Unforgotten says, at Carol D, sprinkled on top of hummus. Yeah, definitely. That would be good, actually. I usually put paprika when I serve hummus in my restaurant, but I think sumac would work nice too. Even on yogurt, sumac goes very nice. Claude1234 says, sprinkled on top of red onions for the sumac. Yeah, definitely. So whenever we have big functions here in the restaurant, when we serve the sort of mint, onion, radish and everything, we'll actually sprinkle red sumac on the onions, and it goes so nice. And if you marinate it with the sumac with onions, oh, it's amazing. Carol D, thanks everyone for the sumac suggestions. Yep, thanks everyone. I'm glad you're all joining in to help each other. Yahan Zaman says, what are your favorite kebabs? My favorite, I can't really say one favorite because I sort of like all of them. But my go-to is always either Persian kubide or Turkish Adana. Sort of chicken dishes, chicken kebabs I'm really sick of. It's just so boring in a way. So I don't eat it as much, whereas minced kebabs all the time. Nadia M says, hi Henry, I made you garlic toom after I discovered your channel last year and it was delicious. Thank you very much. It is one of the more popular videos. I have a lot of customers actually come in and want to try it. So yeah, I'm glad everyone enjoys that one. It's actually been very popular here in the restaurant. Being sort of more of a Lebanese dish in a Persian restaurant, we're selling a lot of it every week. Okay, E equals MC. Assalamu alaikum, brother Henry. God bless you and your family. Love, love, love your channel from a Lebanese brother. Thank you very much. Love is right back at you. Nadia M. Sumac on fresh tomatoes on the vine. Yeah, definitely. That would be nice. Yeah. Claude1234. Have you ever tried any recipes with kangaroos? Look, honestly, I haven't. I wouldn't. I've only had kangaroo once in my life. Kangaroo itself is a very sort of gamey meat. I wasn't really the biggest fan of it, and I felt sort of bad about eating kangaroo as well. Growing up in Australia, I was always surrounded by kangaroos, so I felt really bad. So I've just refrained from that. That's the same with duck as well. I haven't done any duck recipes, if you notice. Some of you will know I used to raise ducks, so I sort of just feel bad. Sunset, hi Henry, love your channel. Thank you very much. Got a coffee here as well, so I'm getting a dry mouth. Keika, everything about your food choices are wonderful. Love from Iran. Thank you very much. Love right back at you. I actually do miss Iran. It's been, last time I was there, I was 10 years old, so it's been a long time. Sunset says, what does tarragon taste like? Licorice? Tarragon, I wouldn't really say so much licorice. So I use a lot of tarragon when I'm doing sort of seafood dishes. It's sort of a unique sort of flavor. I wouldn't say it's like aniseed at all. It's more closer to combination of something like parsley and dill, even a bit of basil in a way, I would say. AC Sarkisian, hello from Los Angeles, bro. Keep up the great work. Thank you for joining in. I know this time always works good for everyone in the States. Yahan Zaman says, actually, I like your videos, especially keema and minced kebab dishes. Yeah, actually, yeah, the minced kebabs are one of my favorites, actually, because there's so many different things you can do, and I'm always coming up with new recipes as well. So I appreciate that you guys love that ones, and I always love the feedback you give. Always gives me new ideas. As you know, my last video I did was beef kufta with saffron yogurt. Actually, speaking of saffron yogurt, I have a question here on Instagram from Mexicutioner. He's asking how I make the saffron yogurt. So if you see my last video that I did beef kufta on YouTube, I actually showed how to make the saffron yogurt. So it's nothing complicated. All you need is some crushed up saffron with a little bit of sugar, and add some boiling water to that, let it simmer for a bit, and add some yogurt to it. Simple as that. Bit of salt and pepper, and the longer you leave it, the better it will taste, because you want that flavor to enhance. Darwin says, I've seen a lot of kebabs in your channel. Do you cook stews, curry type meats? What's your favorite stew? Okay, yeah, we do serve stews and curries in my restaurant as well. So Shawarma sabzi, which is a Persian stew of fried green herbs, kidney beans, Persian lime, and diced lamb. Now, for the lamb part, what I do is use lamb shoulder. Now, lamb shoulder has a decent amount of fat on it. Now, when you're stewing something for a long time, that fat turns into pure flavor. So I would suggest that if you want something leaner, use lamb leg. It's a bit leaner, but nothing wrong with that. But the shoulder works amazing. Other than Shawarma sabzi, we also serve fussanjun. That's also the second popular dish, or first popular, actually, I should say. So fussanjun, look, there's different variants on it. The way I do it, we do chicken thigh, diced chicken thigh, with crushed walnuts, very fine crushed walnuts, in a pomegranate sauce. With all sorts of herbs and spices as well. So that's also slow cooked for about 3 or 4 hours. Being chicken thigh, it breaks apart and shreds beautifully. So don't use breast for a stew, because it's just going to go dry and, it's not going to work properly. JC says, can you touch on soups and which is a good seller for you guys? When it comes to soups, in my restaurant, we only serve ashreshta, which is a Persian thick soup. It's a vegetarian soup. Funnily enough, being a soup, it's also very popular in summer when it's ridiculously hot. Other than that, from a personal point of view, my favorite soup would be potato and leek. So I have been meaning to do some recipes on that, video recipes. Unfortunately, because it's hot weather, it sort of doesn't go for me. So when we go back to cold weather, I'll get back to that. Sunset says, how often do you offer new creations on the menu as a special to try? So with that, I don't offer them that often, to be honest. So the only sort of new creations and stuff I do as specials would be desserts. So desserts, we try different things every week. I do have a set dessert menu, but we have a cake display fridge, and every week I'm trying different things, new things. As for the actual menu itself, I'll sort of give it a light review every 1 year. Changing the menu too much is often actually negative, because some people get used to it. They find a particular dish they really like. On my menu, we have a dish called the Feast for Two, which is basically 4 skewers with rice, salad, and everything. And that is the most popular dish on our menu. It's also the second most expensive. So it wouldn't logically make sense to take that off and replace it with something else. Once again, for takeaways, that's also very popular. So you want to be careful how you alter your menu. Yahan Zaman says, have you ever tried Pakistani food? Yeah, I have. I do have a couple of videos on my channel, but I'm not that familiar with Pakistani food to be able to do more recipes on it. But I'll definitely keep it in mind. Herm says, "Hi Henry, we are regulars at your restaurant. Love your kubi there. Asking for my dad watching. Do you know the recipe for biryani? Could you do a video?" Yeah, definitely. Thank you for being a loyal customer. I've definitely been meaning to do that. Basically, biryani is a very old Persian dish of basically lamb, but what you do is you cook it beforehand, then you mince it, and then you sort of cook it again. And it's garnished with pistachios. The idea behind it is sort of crazy to me, but I remember specifically last time I was in Iran, I was a kid, but I remember going somewhere and we were served that. And I remember it was just a round piece of bread, and it had that in the middle, sort of like a round shape like that. And basically, you get the bread and just take it and eat it. And I was thinking, what is this? Like, it's so crazy. But it has such a flavor explosion, and it's not dry, surprisingly. So the original lamb you cook, it has to have enough fat on it. So I'll definitely keep that in mind. We'll definitely do a video on that. I don't think there's any others on YouTube actually on that, so it'll be good to do. Sunset says, "Do you use an instant pot to cook in the restaurant or your home?" No, I don't. I never really got into gadgets and appliances like that, and I never cook at home at all. I can't remember if ever I've cooked at home or baked. So yeah, I've never baked a cake at home. I don't think I've ever actually fried anything at home. I've got an air fryer at home. I've only used that a handful of times, but you can't really consider that cooking. Claude1234 says, "Have you had Icelandic yogurt? It's like Greek yogurt, but a little different. It is thick. It is considered to be closer to a cheese by some." No, I haven't. I'll definitely keep that in mind. Just trying to think if it's similar to labneh, which is basically a strained yogurt, and it's somewhat like a thick cheese. But I'll definitely keep that in mind. Andy G says, "Hi Henry, just wondering if you're going to make a Kalampolo Shirazi video for us." Yeah, definitely. I can keep that in mind, Kalampolo. Definitely, we can do that. Darwin says, "I love Hormeh Sabzi. I eat many types, but it's very work extensive. Thanks, man. I'll try the other one, though." Look, Hormeh Sabzi, it's a long process, but I'm not going to say it's complicated at all. So once you sort of, cook your meat, saute your meat, add everything in, all you're doing is letting it slow cook for about 3 to 4 hours. So I have two videos on my channel. One is how to do it with canned Hormeh Sabzi. So you can actually buy the herbs from most Persian supermarkets, and that'll save a lot of time. But I've also got a video on how to make it from scratch. So basically all you're doing is, getting your greens, chopping them, frying them, then you're adding your meat, frying it with onion, adding the herbs to that, and slow cooking it. So time extensive, yeah, I wouldn't really say work extensive. Gaz Tasman says, "G'day from Tassie, Henry. Since I found your channel last year, we have gone crazy with your kebabs, and you make me look like a legend at barbecues." Well, that's the point. I want to bring out the inner chef in everyone. Bizlord says, "Do you speak Armenian?" Yes, I do. So I speak both dialects of Armenian. So, Barskahai and Arvamatahai, they call. Amin Kekar says, "Bizlord, Iranians are close to Armenian." Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's a huge population of Armenians in Iran, especially in Esfahan. That's sort of where my family's from. That's why the sort of Persian culture is in the Armenian culture as well. It's sort of a blend. So that's why we love our kebabs. JR says, "Henry, why is it impossible to get lamb kebabs tender at home? What is the best cut for that?" I'm assuming you're going by a diced lamb. I always use backstrap when I'm doing lamb. It is the best cut you can use for kebabs. You can sort of use lamb leg as well. Depending on how you marinate it, it can come out like really nice. Lamb shoulder you can use as well, but it's very fatty. So it will come out tender, but it's going to cause a lot of flare-ups when you're grilling it. It's going to smoke up and possibly burn. So definitely try and get your hands on backstrap. Claude1234 says, "Do people sit down and eat a dish for two by themselves?" You'd be surprised. A lot of young guys come and, gym junkies and stuff. And, it's all meat. So it's actually a very good dish. Like I remember once we had a table of 4 guys come in and they ordered 4 of those dishes. Now, mind you, it's 4 skewers, rice, salad, and they ordered bread as well. They finished everything. So it can be done. I've never attempted it myself because I know I wouldn't be able to, but it can be done. Darwin says, as far as soups, I'd suggest the Persian bubble barley soup, I think it's called. I tried it for the first time recently and love. I think you may be talking about halim. I have done that on my channel, if that's what you're referring to. I wasn't the biggest fan of it personally. I just find the combination strange, but it is very popular. Bonafide Bloomhell, hey Jessica, thanks for joining in. What do you suggest for menu idea burner, appetite burner? Like when literally nothing interests you, but you need to make something and eat. You know, that's a really tough one because that happens to me a lot, actually. And it happens to me so much, sometimes I just leave and go to McDonald's. And yeah, I'll admit that as a chef. So, look, when that happens, I try and just scroll through Instagram. You know, I'll look up on YouTube, see what other people are doing. Sometimes I'll literally go into the cool room or like my dry store shelves and just stare and just look at everything and see what comes to me. In doing so, sometimes I'll come up with such a stupid idea that I actually turn it into a video after because it comes out so well. So the only way I find that you can do that is just open your fridge door and just look like you're bored, and ideas will just start coming to you, hopefully. Hot Tower says, I don't plan on making it myself, but any chance you'll do baking videos? Gata and nuzluk are tasty. Yeah, actually, I have done a recipe on both nuzluk and gata. So basically, nuzluk is a pastry that's stuffed with sort of a walnut dough, I would say, actually. Gata is very similar as well. So both videos are on my channel, so definitely check them out. Yahan Zaman says, did you know that Australia won against us Pakistan in the T20 World Cup? You know, I don't really follow cricket anymore. I used to love it as a kid, but I got bored of it. Truthfully, I don't know how I can sit down and watch something so repetitive for so long. I know a lot of people are crazy religiously into it, but I'm not. Basketball and tennis is my go-to. Gaz Tasman says, quick question about the last kebab recipe. Is it a tablespoon of salt or a teaspoon? We found this salty, but I didn't leave it in the fridge for the full amount of time. Will that cause it to be salty? If you're referring to the kufta, I did do that with 1 tablespoon of salt. So I sort of use the salt sort of as a tenderizer as well to sort of break down the meat. So if you're doing it that way, it shouldn't really come out salty, but you can go ahead and adjust it to 1/2 tablespoon. There's nothing wrong with that. Book Lau says, hi Henry, awesome progress with the channel these past couple of years. Hard work pays off, congrats. Thank you very much. I really appreciate all the support. I know some of you have been following from day one, and I'm talking about like 9 years ago. Joe Baxter says, hi Henry, great content. Where can I buy the best basturma in Sydney? You know, I had a customer come in not about a year ago, and they gave me the number of someone that they reckon does the best basturma in Sydney. Unfortunately, I forgot it. And I didn't even get a chance to try it. It's just I've been so busy. I honestly can't think of anywhere else that I could recommend to get it from. If you really feel like a challenge, I reckon watch my video and make it yourself. It's not that complicated. Once again, it's more of a time process, not work. CH says, hello Henry, glad I made it, sorry. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it. JR says, thanks, Henry, will do. Yeah, for the backstrap, yeah, definitely give it a try. Dick Sensei says, Arby's curly fries. You know, I had curly fries yesterday, actually. Really reminded me of my childhood. Mr. Semia says, love your channel. Keep up the how-tos. Giving a lot of inspiration to the whole Mediterranean people. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Look, that was the whole point of my channel, you know, inspiration. I mean, I had a lot of people tell me when I first started, you'll never make it, believe it or not. And, you know, you got to ignore that. Anyone can do anything if they set their mind to it. Bonafide Bloom says, I love it. Thank you. You are giving me ideas. You know what? Every time I watch your videos on your Snapchat and Instagram, you give me ideas. So I actually like your inspiration. Joe Baxter says, hey, Brookhollow, nice work with Onage. That actually crossed my mind because Brookhollow is on Onage pranks, if anyone watches him on YouTube. It's very funny. Actually, I love his channel. Herm says, Henry, I may have missed it. Any more info on the spices or products you are launching? Okay, so in regards to that, guys, basically, I came up with an idea not long ago to create my seasonings and put them in jars and basically sell them like that. So think about it this way. Let's just say you want to make kubi there. The last thing you want to do is get your meat, get your onion, grate your onion, add your spices, drain the juice from the onion and, mix it and all this, it gets annoying. Even for me, it gets annoying and repetitive. So the idea I've come up with is to create all the seasonings inside a jar. So all you do, grab your meat, add the seasoning, mix it, serve it, and everyone thinks you're the greatest chef there is. So in regards to that, I'm still in the design process and fine-tuning it. So I can't give an estimated date or time yet on when that will come out. I would say by the end of the year, to be honest. I will also come up with a promo for all my subscribers as well. And I'll be launching a whole range. So it's not just kubi there. We'll do adana as well and all the popular dishes that I have. So definitely keep tuned for that. I'll keep you guys updated too. CH says, Henry, do you serve baba ganoush and have you done a how-to on it? Yeah, I have done baba ganoush. I do have a video on my channel. In my restaurant, we don't actually serve it though. So we do kashke bademjan in my restaurant. It's somewhat similar. Whereas baba ganoush is eggplant with tahini. Kashke bademjan is eggplant with cash. Kashke is sort of fermented yogurt, I would say. So very similar. I don't serve it in my restaurant because it's more Lebanese and we're more Persian here. When we have functions, I have done it when people have asked for it. Yahan Zaman says, what's your favorite cuisine? Look, my favorite cuisine is Asian cuisine, specifically Chinese, but I do sort of like everything. So stir fries and all that sort of stuff. Even Americanized Asian cuisine I love. Bonafide Blue says, do you have a mat or shoe recommendations for being on your feet all day or just brute through it? Look, that's a funny one. Before I became a chef, I was an apprentice electrician. So basically we had to wear, steel cap shoes, heavy shoes all day long. So I did get a bit of experience by doing that. Before that, I worked in retail and I was on my feet all day long too. So it's not much of a change, to be honest. Obviously, I'd never wear chef shoes actually now. I find that they're too heavy, and with the steel cap and all that, it's very, it's very uncomfortable eventually. I'll just wear Asics. So Asics are one of the most comfortable shoes. I'm not being paid to promote them, by the way, but this is just going back to when I worked in retail and I learned everything about shoes. Look, Asics, I'm on my feet all day and they feel perfectly fine. So that would be my recommendation. I don't have a mat or anything. We used to have mats, but they get dirty too quickly and they're just unnecessary. Yeah, and say every couple of hours, I'll go sit down for a couple of minutes, take a quick break. It really helps. JR says, do you have a recipe for Egyptian kebab and kufta marinade and mix? One of the best, I think. I don't think I do, actually. I'll definitely keep that in mind. I did do a dukkha mix not long ago, so maybe I can come up with something with that. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Claude1234 says, have you had mulukhia? No, I haven't, actually. Not 100% sure what that is, actually. Let me know in the comments. Sunset says, in terms of popularity, is the most ordered indoor dining the same as takeout? Look, that's a funny one, actually. Generally, indoor before COVID was always more popular, but now it's sort of reversed. I guess people have gotten used to staying at home, or they've gotten lazy or whatever. But for example, when was it? Tuesday night, the majority of my orders were takeaway. Last night, 35% of my orders were takeaway. Now, you need to keep in mind when you're doing takeaway, I mean, obviously you can't really do it right now, but if you're doing pure takeaway only, you can cut back on your labor. You can cut back on your, electricity, utilities. You don't need to have the lights on. You don't need to have extra staff on, and so on. So if people order more takeaways, in a way, it's better for you as a business owner. Unless you're lucky and people dine in and they actually spend a lot. Some people are just very cheap. They think of a restaurant as like their personal dining room. Speaking of that, we had a table come in last night. They had booked specifically for 6 o'clock. Now they rocked up at 6:30, and they said we don't want our food till 8:30. Now in my case here, our kitchen closes at 9 o'clock, and we need to wash the plates, get clean everything, and close up the restaurant by say 10 o'clock. Now these people were so arrogant that they said no, we want to be served at 8:30. So we've served that at 8:30, and then they've come up and complained that it's not enough food. So I served extra food for them on purpose as well, because I thought they were nice, and I just wanted to be nice to them. So they're complaining it's not enough food. Now they've also brought their own food into my own restaurant. So imagine how, that's so disrespectful. Now, they've come up and complained like so many times. In the end, the main lady came up to me and goes, I should have just stayed home tonight. And I just said, look, why didn't you? Like, I was actually so embarrassed by the way they treated us last night. And that's the problem with indoor dining. You'll get certain people that think, like my staff are their slaves, my restaurant is their personal dining room, and I should just do whatever they want. And that's one of the problems with the dine-in industry. Generally, I just snap back at them. Like, you need to sort of cut people like that from your clientele, because they will bring you down. So if they're not happy, just let them not return. There's billions of people in the world. Bonafide Bloom says, yes, I premix my spices in bowls, then use that throughout the meal, and it's evenly distributed. Yeah, that's correct. Back in the day when I first started, for example, if I'm making kubide or a mincemeat kebab, I would have my meat and I would just throw everything just like that into it. And it was actually my dad that told me not to do that. He said, grab a bowl, mix everything in there. That way, everything's well combined. So I've been doing that, for 10 years now. So I'm always learning. Or to be honest, I was more lazy, I would say. JC says, thank you for being open with all your recipes and sharing. Many chefs keep recipes close to their heart. Oh, look, thank you very much for that. I mean, I don't find recipes should be secrets. All the recipes I do here in the restaurant, I share with you guys exactly like I do. I mean, if you guys can recreate that at home, good for you. Like, that makes me happy. So it doesn't make me upset. That means you like my recipes. So it's not something that should be secretive, because, recipes are just like art, Darwin says, will the spices be powder or paste? Okay, so that's referring to the seasoning mixes which I'm going to come up with. Basically, what I'll do is a powder. So there'll be a dry powder. I find that'll be easier to use than a paste. There will be certain recipes which require pastes and sort of wet sort of marinades. When it comes to that, I'll let you guys know. But for now, I'm going to start with the dry seasonings. Sorry, the scroll has just gone. There we go. Okay, CH says, I'll have to try that fermented yogurt version. Thank you, Henry. Yeah, definitely. If you jump on my channel, search how to make cash, I'll actually show how to make that fermented yogurt. So it's not too complicated. It just takes a bit of time. Or you can just buy it as well. Herm says, in regards to your spices, can we sign up now or will you let us know? Look, I'll probably just let you guys know, because I want to get it perfect before I sort of get people to sign up for it. So I want to make sure it's 100% I want to make sure I'm happy with the design, the art, and everything. So I'll keep you guys posted. Hot Tower says, is it shameful to use falafel mix from a box? Tell me I'm not the only one who gets lazy. No, I don't think it's shameful at all, to be honest. I mean, the falafel mixes I've tried from boxes have been pretty good. Yeah, go ahead. I don't find it's lazy at all. You know, you still have to make it in a way, so it's not like you're buying the falafel already made. Johan Zaman says, what's the difference between Syrian and Lebanese cuisine? Look, as far as I know, and from the experience I've had with the recipes I've done, they're very similar. Very, very similar. I couldn't really say exactly what. I know it's similar spices used. I think that's the best I can say, to be honest. I wouldn't have enough information to give my opinion on that. JR says, would be great if you could, Henry. Thanks again. Yeah, no worries. Definitely. I'll keep that in mind. Kamyab Montazer says, hi, my friend. Make most Iranian food because they're really great and you can make them more awesome. Yeah, definitely. I find that the Iranian and Persian recipes are the most popular. So that's why I sort of focus on that the most. But in the whole, I find that all of the Middle Eastern recipes in general are the most popular on my channel. So that's why I sort of focus on Middle Eastern the most. But every now and then, you know, I mix in something different, you know, keep you guys on edge and excited. Mr. Semla says, take care, chef. It's past midnight here in Sweden. Look forward to new videos. Time to go. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. JR says, CH, it is delicious and adds a lovely twist to baba ganoush. Yeah, definitely. Bonafide Bloom says, lol, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, definitely, yeah. Okay, Joe Baxter, Muluchia, Claude1234 is referring to that green blended pond water, shredded green leaves. Okay, I'll check on that. CH says, hey, Henry, do you like the Grubhub services? What percentage of your takeout sales are involved in the delivery services? Okay, so here in Australia, we don't have Grubhub. Here we have Uber Eats, Deliveroo, DoorDash, and Menulog. Now, I was doing research on, you know, all these takeout services in America, and it's interesting to find out what a big percentage Grubhub actually has over there. So here in Australia, the main ones I would say is Uber Eats, and right now is DoorDash. So DoorDash is really dominating the market here. Basically, what they generally do is take 30%. So if you get an order for $100, they take 30%. And on top of that, you still have to pay your tax. So here is GST is 10%. So for a $100 order, you've already lost $40. Now, what you guys need to do from 2 points of view. As a customer, you can actually tip your restaurant when you order. I would highly recommend you do that, guys. I mean, we're all doing it tougher than it is, and they take a big percentage. Now, from a restaurant point of view, what I've actually done to my prices on Uber Eats, for example, is I've actually added them by 15%. So the way I sort of imagine it now is for every order I get, I only lose 15%. Now, I really try hard to promote our own delivery services, because from my own delivery service, I only pay about 2 or 3% commission. So you guys got to do that. You got to pump your social media. You got to pump your, you know, Google ads. Get everyone ordering directly from you, not the third party. Now, from that 30% that they take, you need to realize it's not 30% direct to them. Basically, that 30% covers the marketing they do for you. It covers the driver. And it's sort of an insurance sort of thing, because if anything goes wrong, you still get paid. So, you know, I'm not 100% against them, because let's just say for Uber Eats, for example, there's some people, they only order food from Uber Eats. They'll never actually call a restaurant, and that's part of the new generation now. So that's why I haven't removed my restaurant from any of those. Sunset says, what is the most popular takeout dish? What is the most popular indoor dining dish? Look, in our Persian restaurant here, our most popular dish is, like I mentioned before, the feast for two. Basically, that's a platter with 4 different skewers on it. That is the most popular for indoor and outdoor dining, actually. Now, if anyone's actually coming and specifically ordering a dish, they always order the Persian lamb kubida, which is the most popular dish here. In our Italian restaurant, pizzas are most popular. I find that the Meat Lovers is the most popular pizza there, actually. Or when people are too lazy and don't know what to order, they always go for the Supreme. I know personally I do that myself too. It's all laziness. English Riz says, oh, I so wish I could eat at your restaurant. Well, you're always welcome. You all know where I am. Afa Martian says, Henry, do you have a recipe for the Afghan kurma with potato? I found one, but the word. No, I don't actually. I'll actually write that down here on my list. I'll definitely keep that in mind. I can't remember if I did a video on it. I know I have a recipe written down. I just can't remember if I did a video. Halo20678 says, are you Persian? No, I'm Armenian. We're basically Persian-influenced Armenians. So that's why there's so much Persian culture in us, but still Armenian. Claude1234 says, Mulukhia is a leafy green, but it is kind of like okra in that it is slimy. It is a main cooked stew, usually with chicken. It is big in Egypt and Lebanon, but not rest of the Middle East for some reason. You know, now that you mentioned that, I don't know, I feel like mulukhia actually exists in the Armenian cuisine too. Just because you mentioned Lebanese and Egyptian. So I might have to check into that actually. That's very interesting. That just sounds very familiar now. Might write that down too. Thanks for that. CH says, thank you, JR. I'm going to try it. JR says CH with a red rose. Joe Baxter says, your bodgy pain in the ass customer was probably your local state or federal member. Oh, they definitely weren't. Look, you could tell from the second they walked in. Some people, they have sort of an attitude on their face that, hey, I'm too good for this place. I'm too good for you. And from the second they walk in, they want you on your knees and being their slave. I can tell that straight away. So generally when people like that come in and when they want a book, I'll just say we're fully booked out. So I'm very selective about that. It's not worth putting the stress on me, stress on my staff, stress on any other customers as well, because they can see that. And it's happened before. They see it. There was once someone came and apologized to me because of another table. Like, so, you know, it stresses everyone out and it's not worth it. For any money, it's not worth it. Afa Martian says, I found a video of an Afghan woman preparing kurma with potato, but she's not speaking English. And I've posted that she translated the recipe but won't. Do you have a kurma recipe? Yeah, look, I actually do in one of my recipe books, so I'll get back to you on that. Claude1234 says, I am half Turkish, but I've never heard of mulukhia until my Lebanese friends in America kept talking about it, and it is many of their favorite food. Yeah. Like, once again, I'm going to have to come back to that one. I feel like I've made it or I've written a recipe for it or I've tried it or something, but it's really got me thinking now. Nadia M says, may you have continued success with your restaurant and channel, inshallah. You're one of very few humble YouTubers, so I'm even more happy to support your channel. Look, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'm just like you guys. You know, I'll learn myself. You guys can learn from me. You guys can be just as good as me. Sunset says, why would you ferment yogurt? So this is referring back to the cache. Basically, by doing that, you're creating a very deep, sour sort of flavor. So personally, look, I don't like it because it's very strong for me. But when you make the cache bottom jar and when you mix it together, it's actually very nice. So that's one of those things you just got to try just so you know what the flavor's like. Hot Tower at JC is right about keeping recipes secret. Half the Persian recipes on YouTube pretend that they don't finish the kebab by brushing on saffron butter, even it's obvious that they have. Look, yeah, exactly. I mean, I see a lot of photos as well, and you can see that the saffron being brushed on it. Or, videos as well. Like they'll serve it and then it'll just jump. Suddenly it looks a bit different. Like, I don't know why they hide things like that. I mean, if someone says, oh, I just brushed this with saffron butter, it's a selling point. Everyone loves saffron. Yahan Zaman says, what's your Insta? Look, it's just my full name, Henry Tadavosian. Pretty sure if you search up Henry's HowTos, it should come up too. Afa Martian says, from San Francisco, CA, Henry, do you have an Afghan potato kurma recipe? So yeah, look, I'll be working on that one. JC says, has it been difficult getting produce, spices, meats due to everything going on? How have you adjusted? So when the first lockdown happened here in Australia, believe it or not, one of the industries affected was the meat industry. Now, what happened was this specific meat industry is responsible for most of the lamb backstrap in Australia. And look, they just shut down. So I think it was like for 3 weeks, I didn't have any backstrap. So I had to actually alter our menu. So a lot of the dishes on my menu have lamb backstrap, so we couldn't do it. Now, what I did in that time, I got lamb rump. And look, when people called and they requested, a particular dish that had backstrap, I said, look, this is a situation, we can't get backstrap. I've tried every supplier there is, we can't get it. But we're happy to make it with the lamb rump. And it's not too bad. Lamb rump isn't too bad. It's not like backstrap. It's not as tender. So look, we had to make a lot of changes like that. Produce-wise, it wasn't too bad. Our supplies were okay. Vegetable prices went through the roof. They struggled to get stuff, and the prices went through the roof. I remember a box of tomatoes. Our boxes are about 6 kilos. Box of tomatoes was $90. And look, unfortunately, you have to get it. You can't tell to a customer, oh, we don't have tomatoes, because then they'll judge you based on that. And you can't really adjust the prices either. So that's another one of those things a lot of customers don't appreciate. We have to absorb a lot of costs. So meat prices are pretty stable right now. Vegetable prices are sort of fluctuating still. Chicken prices are pretty stable now too. I can't really think of anything else that's really fluctuated at the moment. Everything's pretty stable now. It's not a problem getting meat anymore. Everything's gone back to normal in that sense. So hopefully we'll continue like that. It won't happen again. Johan Zaman says, Henry, I have to go because it's midnight in Belgium. Bye. Thank you very much for tuning in. It means a lot. JR says, Claude1234, Molokhia is actually eaten in most Arabic countries. In Egypt, the original version is cooked with rabbit. All right, that's interesting. So I've never cooked with rabbit either. That, I just find it strange, to be honest. So I don't think I'll ever be able to. Sky Violet says, why do you use cumin? Look, it would depend on what recipe you're referring to. Cumin has a very sort of strong aroma, and I love to use it a lot with Middle Eastern and sort of Indian recipes. So, look, it would depend on what recipe you're referring to. It's one of my favorite spices, actually. LAKGGK, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Have you ever used sous vide very much? Gary, oh, sorry, your name's right there. No, Gary, I actually never have. I've watched people use it. I've got a rough idea how it works, but it's just something that I've never really needed to use in our restaurants based on what we serve. I'm sure one day I'll give it a try, but it's just something I wouldn't really have to use for the techniques we use here. Henry, best way to promote your own delivery service is to slip in a flyer talking about your own delivery and discount. Then what picks up, cut them off. 30% is way too much. Look, I agree, 30% is too much. So when I started my own delivery service, what we did is I printed out sort of flyers If you guys are doing anything like that, I use Vistaprint all the time. Once again, I'm not being paid to say this, but Vistaprint is so easy to use, and they literally deliver to you in 2 days if you need it. So that's what we did. We did flyers, and I'm still doing them now too, where I printed a special code. If they use that code, they get 20% off. Now, the beauty of this code is I can actually see how many people have used it. That way I can see if the flyers are actually working. I don't have the exact figures right now, but I can guarantee about 50% of my takeaway sales now are through our own delivery service. So it's gotten rid of Uber and all that. So the flyers are working based on that. Everybody loves a discount. I can guarantee that. Another thing you can do is use this code and get a free, I don't know, soft drink or whatever. It won't cost you that much, but the return is bigger. People love free stuff. I know I do. Heidi to Universe. Henry, your video for chicken paprika was so easy to recreate and is the bomb. Many thanks from New York City. Please keep taking care of yourself. You look great. Thank you very much. Yeah, I loved paprika from a young age. I remember Pringles, like the potato chips, brought out a flavor which was paprika. That was the first time I tried it. I wouldn't have been younger than 10 years old. And I really liked the flavor. So paprika was very nice because it has so much paprika in it. I still love to use paprika now all the time. CH says, Darwin, that'll be a great way to establish in-house delivery service. Yeah, definitely. Other thing I do other than the flyers, if you Google a restaurant these days, Uber Eats, Menulog, and all them, they actually pay to advertise their website as an ad under your restaurant listing. So that's what would happen with me. So if you were to Google my restaurant, Menulog, Uber, all those links would actually come up underneath and write order now. And believe me, there's people that use that. It's just the way it works now. So what I actually did was when we launched our delivery service, I actually changed all that to redirect to our personal website. And through our website, there's a link where you can order straight away, pick up or delivery. Now, what I also did was I spent about $200 or $300 a month on Google AdWords. Now, the way AdWords work is you can use certain keywords to make sure your restaurant comes up as an ad. So I don't really spend too much on the Persian restaurant here because it's not necessary, because there's not that much Middle Eastern competition. But the Italian restaurant, for example, pizza near me, Italian near me, wood-fired pizza near me, gourmet pizza near me, pizza delivery, things like that, that makes you jump all the way to the top. And, it's a very small investment, but a very big return. Very big. Because you can see your stats on how many people are going on your website. It's just a classic. You got to spend money to make money. CH also says to remain competitive. Yep, definitely. Darwin says thanks, CH. CH says you're welcome, Darwin. Skyviolet says he's like the Persian Prince Harry. That's a good one. CH says I've never tried rabbit. Yeah, me neither. I don't think I ever will. Potts one says love your channel from Calabasas, California. What's the difference between Greek, Lebanese, Persian food? Which do you prefer? Look, I find that it's more so the spices that are. It's not so much the method that's different; it's the spices. So that actually brings me to another question somebody asked here for the recipes for ingredients for shish taouk. So shish taouk is a Lebanese recipe of a kebab recipe. Now the recipe for shish taouk is basically you got lemon juice, olive oil, salt, pepper, thyme, sumac, yogurt. Now let's switch over to Persian. We've got sumac, we've got turmeric, we've got salt, pepper, lemon juice, depending on your recipe. So it's very similar, but just a bit of the spices are different. So yeah, when people call up to book a restaurant, they're like, "Oh, what's Persian food like?" So say, look, it's very similar to Persian. It's very similar to Lebanese food, but it's a matter of different spices. It's very similar to Turkish food, whereas Turkish food has much more deeper spices, and it's more on the chili spicy side too. So, all of us are very similar in a way. It's just little bits and pieces that are different. CH says that is cool that you can track the performance of your marketing efforts. Those little incentives nice to have. I think most people value them. Look, definitely. I mean, that is very important. You need to find out what's working. So when people dine in the restaurant, we try and always ask, is this your first time? How did you hear about us? Same with the takeaways, we use that code. Uber Eats and all them, they give you stats at the end of every day of, how people find you and everything. But all that stuff is very important because you don't want to waste your marketing money in the wrong sort of section. So we used to do a lot of letter drops. So, you pay something like, I don't even remember. I think it was like $100 for every 1,000 houses. And we drop leaflets in their letterboxes. Now, guys, back in the day, that would work, like 10 years ago. Now, how often do you check the mail these days? And when you do, how often do you just grab the whole stack and throw it in the bin? Because generally it's all junk. And how many people have signs on the letterboxes that says no junk mail? So I feel like that doesn't work anymore. Word of mouth will always be the best advertising platform. But social media, guys, social media is the way to go. Because you can see all your information. You can see all your stats. You can see what's working. You can see where you should be spending more money. You can see where you need to cancel the money because you're wasting it. So that's very good now. So I can't imagine what it would have been like to run a restaurant about 20 years ago when there was no Facebook, Instagram, and all this. Or YouTube, I should say. I think YouTube had just started, actually. So, yeah, social media is the way to go. Gary says, I have sous vide many of your recipes in your marinade, then skewered them and see on grill, and they're fantastic. Oh, that's definitely good to know, actually. Thanks for that. I'll definitely keep that in mind one day. I'll give it a try. Observe with me says, hi, chef. Hello. Shahid Shafiq says, hi. You make the best kebab. I learned from your videos. Thanks. Thank you very much. Sorry, my coffee's getting cold. Carol D says, rabbit tastes similar to dark meat chicken. If cooked properly, it is tender and moist. If not cooked slowly, it can be tough and dry. The best I've ever had was fresh killed and done on a fire. Yeah, look, that's interesting. I've heard a lot of people say rabbit's very tender. I've seen a lot of people cook with rabbit too. Actually, if you guys watch Hell's Kitchen, a lot of the chefs on there have used rabbit as well. So if you can impress someone like Gordon Ramsay with rabbit, then must be good. But as I said, I just wouldn't feel comfortable eating it. I don't know. I just find they're sort of more of a pet. But I mean, that's just me. Iron Mia says, thank you for all your recipes. I love doing skewer. Have you ever tried horse meat? Once again, going by the whole rabbit thing, I find the horses, again, one more like a pet, so I wouldn't be able to. It's just personally, I wouldn't be able to. Adam Serenen says, I like your videos. Greetings from Finland. Thank you for joining in. Mr. B says, how long can you keep saffron water for? Love your videos. Guys, saffron water, I usually keep for about a month at a time, but I make a big batch because we go through a lot here. So keep it in the fridge. Keep it in the fridge. The longer you leave it, the better the flavor will get too. Unforgotten says, do you have a works van? Having your name on it is excellent advertising. No, I don't. I used to put like magnets on my car, to advertise it. But you know what the problem with that is? Imagine one day you're really pissed off when you're driving and you flip someone off, or cut someone off. How's it going to look when you have your restaurant or business advertised on the side of your car? So that's why I don't have the worst road rage, but I get, ticked off pretty easily. So that's why I don't. But definitely it's a very good way to advertise because, people are always on the road and they always see. Herm says, what coffee are you drinking? Flat white all the way. I hate froth. I can't stand froth. So flat white is very popular here in Australia. Basically just coffee and milk. Almond milk, I should say. Truth Hurt says, I really admire your calm demeanor in such a stressful occupation. I also love your necklace. Thank you very much. Look, I try to be calm all the time. I mean, you have to be. You got to always be smiling. You got to keep everyone happy. Definitely a stressful occupation. As I said last night, somebody did piss me off. But, after a couple of hours, you get over it. It's a new day. New people are going to come. You've got your regular clientele. Like, you shouldn't let things like that get to you. There's a quote from American History X. It's towards the end. Life's too short to be pissed off all the time. Believe me. Unforgotten says, these van wraps are expensive, but very good. Yeah, the wraps are expensive. So in my case, when I had the magnets, I got them from Vistaprint. They were about $20 for each one. Each one was pretty much about the size of a quarter of your car door. Obviously, wrapping is better. Like, it's much more effective. It's brighter, hits everyone. So, look, it depends on what business you have. If it's a business where you need to market like that, then definitely good. I feel like a restaurant really doesn't need it. CH says, Henry, what is your favorite coffee brand? Do you enjoy Turkish coffee? Look, we actually changed our coffee beans here. So we're using a blend called Machina. They're roasted here in Australia. They're a fairly small company, but I find the smaller companies focus better on their coffee. Once particular companies get too big, they sort of don't care anymore because they're so big. I don't want to name names, but there's a particular one here that's very big. When we first started in the industry, when I called them to get an idea, they actually said, how'd you get my number? So, I mean, when you call a sales rep and he says, how'd you get my number? Like, seriously? That's one way to lose business. Do you enjoy Turkish coffee? Look, I find it's a bit too strong for me. I'll drink it every now and then, but I prefer sort of Italian espresso coffee. But I actually love Nescafe too, instant coffee, believe it or not. So just depends on my mood. Sunset says, my niece used to be a waitress. She said as soon as she met the customer, she immediately knew they would not tip. Well, yeah, like after, you can tell straight away, guys. Tipping isn't customary here in Australia, so I would say only about 20% of the time they tip. And you can tell that straight away. As I said, some people think we're their slaves. And believe me, that's what they think. And they're not going to tip you. They're even going to ask for a discount. Which is what happened last night. They asked for a discount. I said, no, you're going to pay full price. So simple as that. I'm not a charity. Carol D says, rabbits that are raised for food are vicious. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. But that would make sense, definitely. Because I find that rabbits are just, and there's always rabbits here on the pathway too. There's foxes, there's a lot of animals, there's possums. There's even a water dragon. So there's a lot of different animals around me here. None of them are vicious to me, though. They're all nice and friendly. Iron Mia says, haha, okay, thank you. Yeah, no worries, that's fine. Joe Baxter says, if you've ever had IKEA meatballs, you've had horse. I remember when that story came out. It was a while ago. I feel like more than 5 years ago, actually. So from my understanding, the IKEA meatballs here, because legally they have to say what's in it, they're packaged as half beef mince, half pork mince. For what I remember about that horse meat story, it was in England, if I'm not mistaken. It was at Tesco's or something, where they were using horse meat as beef mince. Let me know in the comments if that's the case. I don't remember. But our labeling laws here are very strict. So that's part of why my product launch will take longer, because you need to make sure everything's very strict. There's a lot of legal obligations here. Darwin says, hey, have you ever considered going on those competition shows now that you've talked about it? Look, when I first started in this industry, I'm talking almost 12 years ago now. Still till now, one of my favorite shows is Hell's Kitchen. So I religiously watched Hell's Kitchen. One of my dreams was always to meet Gordon Ramsay and learn from him. At the time, I would have loved to go on one of those shows, but not so much now. Unfortunately, I feel like they're very scripted. I don't think they're actually that honest. That's just my personal opinion. That's what I sort of experienced from them. But there is no way people that are experienced and go on those shows can be that bad and make that many mistakes, especially those stupid mistakes. So I feel like it's very scripted and very dramatized just for TV. So I feel like even the winner's probably already selected when they first start. Potts one says, do you watch or follow any other YouTube chefs? If so, who? I don't really. The only sort of chefs I follow is like Gordon Ramsay and Jamie Oliver. Yeah, YouTube I sort of use more for entertainment. So I follow a lot of vloggers and stuff, and comedians and things like that. Carol D says, don't forget to give him a thumbs up. Yep, definitely. CH says, how did you get my customer service number? Herm says, what was the name of the coffee you changed to? Machina. Is that Sydney based? Yeah, so Machina is Sydney based. I don't know exactly where they are. I forgot actually, but they are Sydney based. So they're a very small roastery. They actually own their own cafes as well. So guys, basically when it comes, I had someone else here ask, they were setting up a restaurant and wanted to know about suppliers, like how to approach them. So I'll actually speak about that here. So basically when you first open your restaurant, you need to find your suppliers, right? What you need to keep in mind is ask your supplier what they're going to do for you, not what you're going to do for them. They want your money, but what are they going to do for you? So for example, when we first started the Italian restaurant, we approached Coke. Coke says, okay, we'll give you free fridges as long as you use our products. Now, with those fridges, the service is included, so they're not actually yours. You don't have to pay for anything. They take care of everything. They'll give you free glasses, free promotional materials, stickers, posters, umbrellas, blah, blah, blah. That's Coke. Next, we approached a coffee company. This was the first coffee company we approached. They said we can offer you a used machine as a lease, provided you buy an X amount of coffee beans per week. Also, we'll provide you with a grinder, promotional material, once again, umbrellas, banners, windbreakers, etc. Now, because we were so small at the time, and it's a new restaurant as well, a coffee company like that isn't going to give you a brand new machine for free and say, yeah, all right, good luck. They're going to want a contract. They're going to want you to buy an X amount of kilos a week. So our original contract with them was they wanted us to buy 6 kilos a week. Every kilo of coffee will roughly make around, anything between 50 to 70 coffees, depending on how you use it. So that wasn't an issue because we're in a high-rise building. It's 6 levels, a lot of customers, a lot of office workers. So we knew coffee wouldn't be an issue. Unfortunately, we bought out our machine there. So we bought a brand new one. Now, after something like 6 years, so we're very loyal to that company. For 6 years we were with them. The coffee turned really bad. We didn't get any more support from them. They didn't really care, to be honest. They never advertised us on social media, nothing. So what we did is we called the new sales rep up, and they actually said, how'd you get my number? Who are you? So can you imagine a sales rep not knowing their customer exists on their database? So look, that was a final straw. I mean, a lot of customers had complained about the coffee too. So something was wrong. It wasn't the machine, it wasn't the grinder, it was the coffee beans themselves. You could tell they were sort of burnt. So we started shopping around for a new supplier. So we approached another supplier. We said, look, we buy, at the time, 10 kilos of coffee a week. What can you do for us? Once again, they gave us a new machine, a slightly better machine than what we already had, than the one we bought out. More promotional stuff, umbrellas, banners, but they had a big social media presence too, which was very good. Social media is the way to go. There's a big coffee culture here in Sydney. So we were with them we only just ended them a couple of weeks ago. Reason for that is, guys, at the Italian restaurant, we have another 2 competitors on the same property. These competitors have much more promotional material. So they have more umbrellas. They have more windbreakers, like banners. So visually when customers see that, they go, all right, this is a cafe, I'm going to get my coffee from there. Whereas us, we're just a restaurant, we'll get our food from there. Not saying that's a bad thing. There's more profit in food than coffee. So we started shopping around for another supplier, which is when we were recommended to Machina by one of our cousins. So we said to Machina, look, we buy about 15 kilos of coffee a week now. This is our clientele. We want to push it to 20 kilos a week. These are our competitors. So we need coffee. We need marketing that's going to be better from them. So Machina did approach us and say, all right, 15 kilos a week, we'll give you a brand new machine, a Wega machine, and a brand new digital grinder. Now, this particular machine is a pearl white, and it has LED lights all around it. I'll actually put a video up on it soon as well. And people react to things like that. They don't care about the coffee, believe it. They come in, they see a machine with bright lights shining. They go, all right, the coffee must be good. You could have the best coffee beans in the world, but the ugliest looking machine, psychologically they'll think, oh, the coffee's bad, I'm not going to get it. So that's what it comes down to. When you approach your suppliers, what are you going to do for me? All right, forget it. If you're not going to help me out, that's what you need to do. They need to give you stuff. They need to support you. You need that support. CH says, Carol, are those the ill-tempered cave bunnies with the sharp pointy teeth? Back to the rabbits. Darwin, I agree with you. It's more entertainment than cooking. Yeah, look, it is. I mean, I'll still watch it for the entertainment side because I like Gordon Ramsay. Simple as that. Keyhole Eye says, Henry, you are a twin to my son, Alex. I always point that out to him. Oh, really? That's interesting. Skunk Nipple says, your beard is fuller than a double knitted. I don't think it's that thick, actually. I actually trimmed it down after lockdown. So during lockdown, I let it grow. But, I didn't want to be so bushy. I want that beard. Everybody does. Darwin says, great information, Henry. You should do these lives more. The business side is also very interesting. Yeah, definitely. I've been meaning to also do some lives where it will be during service, so you can see exactly what it's like when a restaurant's actually operating. So the way I've been planning to do it is sort of set up my camera in the kitchen, just pointing down, just so you can see what everyone's doing. Now, unfortunately, with doing that, it would be hard to actually answer any questions because I'd be cooking, but you get a rough idea on how everything is. I'll see the questions anyway and can reply after. So, I'll definitely keep that in mind. I'll keep you guys updated with when I do that as well. CH says, Henry, was the fires bad near you? Are they saying anything about another bad fire season? Yeah, so the bushfire season here in Australia usually starts next month in December. Around me, it doesn't get too bad because I'm sort of in a built-up city area. So rural, where it's like bushes, gets really bad. Unfortunately, look, all we can do is prepare for it. So our firefighters do a lot of backburning to prepare everyone. Look, they do a great job here, total respect for them, risking their lives like that. Unfortunately, we lose a lot of them every year too because of, just what they have to deal with. But, what can we do except be prepared for it? That's all we can do. CH says, Pointy Teeth Rabbit was from the Monty Python Holy Grail movie. It's a funny movie. I actually haven't seen that, so I can't help you out with that. So I had a couple of other questions just come through Instagram. Xander Lindstrom says, have you ever tried Swedish food? And what are your thoughts on it? Guys, Swedish food, obviously Swedish meatballs, like everyone loves that. Well, I hope everyone loves that. I know I do. I have done a video on it too, if you see on my channel. Swedish food in general, I'm not the biggest fan of because obviously a lot of them are sort of fish-based, preserved fish and things like that. So I hate seafood. I refuse to try seafood. Those sorts of things I wouldn't try either. But I know there's a lot of other Swedish recipes too. I'll definitely keep those in mind though. Just Scandinavian recipes in general. Vahid Nobakti says, would you ever serve tadik or tachin at your restaurant? I probably wouldn't. Tadik is basically the rice crust on the bottom of the pot. It would be very hard to actually do that because we make the fresh pot of rice for every service. So until that rice empties, we wouldn't be able to get to the talik. So I wouldn't really be able to do that, unfortunately. I have had people request it, but unfortunately it just wouldn't really work out from a restaurant point of view. If it's at home, it's a different story. Tachin. So tachin is basically, it's like a rice cake. It's mixed with yogurt, chicken, saffron, things like that. That's something that has to be made to order if you want it to be really good. Basically, it's baked, but once you bake it, you need to serve it. You can't leave it because it sort of gets soggy. So I have done a video on it. Unfortunately, it's not something I wouldn't serve in the restaurant once again. I haven't had many people request it either. So it's probably just no demand for it. Only thing I could logically do is do it for a special one day and see what happens. You never know. Maybe it becomes popular. Who knows? Okay, guys, I guess that's all the questions for today. Just at the hour and a quarter mark here. So thanks everyone for tuning in again. I'll keep you guys posted on what I do with the spices. So as I said, I've got the recipes tuned up already. I just need to work on the design, the label, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. Hopefully I'll have a better idea in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully I'll be able to launch the product by the end of the year too. And yeah, I'll work out a promo for my members as well and for my watchers, subscribers, everyone. So I'll keep you guys posted on all that. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. I'll announce the next date and time soon. If there's another date and time that works out for you guys, just let me know in the comments. Just so I have a better idea on what to do. I find that this time is working out best for everyone, but I want to keep everyone happy. So I'll see you guys all next time. Take care.